H O H O Buckeye Lounge, we run this game. Shrockstar Sean, remember the name. TG's lurking, Wolverine's fear. Scarlet and gray, make it loud and clear. O H O H O TG and Sean, bringing that smoke. They stand in the paint, that ain't no joke. Tune in, turn up, let the show begin. The Buckeye Lounge, straight fire within. O H O H O Buckeye Lounge, we run this game. Shrockstar Sean, remember the name. TG's lurking, Wolverine's fear. Scarlet and gray, make it loud and clear. O H O H
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Buckeye fans of all ages, the Ohio podcast probably brings you the Buckeye Lounge. I'm your host, Sean Schrock, along with the Wolverine Slayer, TG, and a very special guest tonight, Alex Bryan from the Buckeye Bro Show. Alex, how you doing tonight? TG, how you guys doing?
I'm great.
I'm fantastic. I'm feeling still like a national champion today, so that's a great way to start every day.
No doubt.
It always is.
It always is. Always is.
We appreciate you coming on, man. I know
problem.
been a great year. So, great year. Every day waking up a champion. There's nothing better, is there?
Absolutely. We had to wait 10 years to do it again. It wasn't as pretty in some aspects as the last one, but it was prettier in other aspects, like that playoff run. But either way, no matter what, it's worth it. And hopefully the next one comes a little sooner,
I think it will.
Maybe this year.
It should. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe.
I'm not going to jump the gun. We'll see. We'll see.
For some people who don't know you, let us know how long you've been doing your show.
Well, we haven't actually done our show in a little bit, since like the end of last season. Just health reasons on my end and work schedule on their end. But we've been doing the show since around 2020. So the first year we didn't even get to talk about a Team Up North game that year because they faked COVID and dodged us that year. But we got to talk about a Clemson victory, which was nice. And then after that, we've had to talk about some rough times. And we stopped a little bit before the Big Ten title game. We haven't done it since, but hopefully we'll get picking back up soon.
Cool. How long have you been a Buckeye fan? Like, fill me in how you became a Buckeye fan.
I've been a Buckeye fan since birth. I know that's like probably the cop-out answer,
Sure.
but my dad graduated from there in the 80s, and it's just been in my blood, and it was the only college I ever considered. So I'm a 2014 grad, and it's always been me. I was always known as the Ohio State guy, wearing it all the time, basically. So wear my colors proud, man.
Exactly.
That's great. Hey, what's your favorite thing about the Buckeyes?
God, how much time do you have?
Just give me your favorite. Just one favorite. What's your favorite thing?
Honestly, our fan base gets a lot of flack, but there's no other fan base like ours in any sport. I truly believe, without put bias aside, I believe we have the best fans in any sport at any level. We're very passionate. I don't care about what Kirk Herbstreit says about lunatic fringe. That's what makes us beautiful. And, our expectations are never too lofty in my eyes. I think what we expect is what should be the standard every year. And honestly, I'm at a lot of our fans because they seem to take the route with the rivalry now of, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it should always matter. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I love our fan base, even if they say dumb things sometimes.
Let's say this. I think for the fans, the rivalry, like winning a national championship, means more than beating Michigan at this point. It always has. But I'm gonna ask this: what was your favorite thing about 2024? What's the most memorable moment you had?
Honestly, the most memorable moment probably for me was when we got up like 21-0 against Oregon in that Rose Bowl, because I just, as much as I couldn't believe it, I was like, okay, this is what we were capable of the entire time. This is what I looked for every single game and wasn't seeing. And then all of a sudden now I'm seeing it, of course, in what was at that point the biggest game of the year. And I just was like looking around, looking at my dad, like, what's going on here? Am I watching this correctly? Is this happening? And it was kind of like 2014, where when we beat Bama, we just kind of knew we were going to be national champs at that point. That was when I was kind of like, all right, we're winning this whole thing now. It's very real. And then of course, Texas game got a little close. Notre Dame got a little close at the end there, but my confidence never wavered after that point. I had no confidence coming in a Tennessee game at all. And then
I don't think most Buckeye fans did after the Scum game, but again, we
I was
always
at
say
that
it.
game.
So was I.
Yeah,
So was
I wasn't, but I was watching on TV, and I can understand how angry people
Yeah.
were, because I was too. But
That was-
I think the thing is, and Chris and myself say it all the time, it's a loss we don't like, but it's a loss we needed to kick this team in the butt.
I hate that. I can never excuse a loss to them ever.
Oh no, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying.
Even the cheating, even though I know they cheated, I'm like, we still should have beat them. And
understandable.
we gotta get that back on track, because I can't take it anymore.
I can't either.
I mean,
get it.
I can't listen. I can understand it, but here's my thing: if they know all your plays and you don't know the extent into which, and you look at like all the things they did to do that, such as like hacking your system to get into your practice footage, sending people out to games to record your signals. If you don't know that, there's nothing you can do about it, man. I'm sorry. That's a huge advantage, especially because even Ryan Day was on the sidelines looking like, how they know these plays?
All I gotta say is MSU found a way in 2021. Why couldn't we?
Who's MSU?
Michigan
Sparty.
State beat them. Michigan State
Sparty.
beat them.
In which year?
Sparty beat them.
2021.
2021. they
Okay,
beat
that's oh man, that is shocking to me that they actually did.
They
Yeah,
found a way.
them.
Now,
found
granted, they had a pretty good running back that
Huh.
year, but
Fair
they
enough.
found a way. We should have been able to as well. We were right there in the fourth quarter both times those 2 years, and we.
I think we were right there, but remember the cheating mainly took place in like the second half, as always.
I agree.
If you
agree.
look at the trajectory, mainly like the numbers, and this is where like even Anna like this. Thank God for legalized gambling, because even they knew something was off with this. Where they were like,
Right.
the second half number, something about this is not right. That was just weird. And
Yep.
I actually firmly believe that we had those guys in the bag come the second half, because I think we were going to kick their teeth in the second half. Because without the cheating scandal, they don't know the plays in the second half. I think what you see out of this Ohio State offense is simple enough. You're going to see them air the ball out. They're going to torch them. They're going to be able to run the ball, mainly because they're going to use the pass to open up the run. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of things. But when I see the fact that you have Marvin Harrison Jr., JSN, Emeka Buka, you even have Fleming out there before his injuries started kicking in, and then you have like all these weapons out there, and yet we're only held to 3 points in the second half. Like, something about that just so off to me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we should have won those games, but a part of me is like, I don't know how much they knew until it really starts coming out that they knew all your plays. And the fact that they had new plays, even Cade Stover and a lot of former Buckeyes pointed this out. They knew plays that Ohio State never ran before. And that's when you're just like,
Yeah.
and you know what? James Franklin even mentioned that too.
Mhm.
I actually went back to I forget which game it was. I forget which year it was, I should say. But he was talking about how they were in like about to run the ball. They look like, your typical goal line formation. You got one receiver out, 3 tight ends. You got the running back in the backfield. It's a
Right.
heavy run look. And then guess what happens? They're out in a two-man like coverage 2, because what Penn State was planning to do was fake like they were going to run and throw it over the top. And then they're in cover 2, and you're like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
How are you? We never practiced this. How'd you know this was coming? So like they didn't even do a good job of hiding it. That when it in and of itself just told you, okay, something wrong.
It's like taking a very open book test, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I found that so funny. I'm like, I was so ticked after watching them games, but I was also so confused as to how we were not scoring in the second half. Like the second half, how were we not doing that? That just always confused me.
Without the cheating, CJ Stroud is a 2-time Heisman winner, probably
pretty much.
Probably 1-time national champ, if not 2. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. And then 2023 and 2024, yeah, they might not have cheated in those games, but at that point, it was so ingrained in Day's head that it's just like he clammed up both years.
Yeah, what's funny is that actually is a chance because the NCAA ended up finding evidence that there's a chance they might have still been doing it, even if Connor Stallions. I hope. Like legit, they found because Connor Stallions gave like signal sheets of opposing team signals to a player on the team for that year in 23. He gave them the signals, the hard drives and the sheets. They found that, and they're like, we don't know how much more cheating they were doing even after that. So like we all thought it was over, and we thought like Michigan got us fairly, and then that information comes out, and you're like, were they still doing it?
Stallions was at the Rose Bowl. He was at the Natty. He got a hat immediately after the game.
He was on the field celebrating.
Yeah, he did. Which I was like, how do you not know? So this is why with Michigan you can't say it, but also like don't forget their idiot quarterback JJ McCarthy basically threw him under the bus when asked that because he said, remember what he said, Sean? Oh, we did it to keep up with Ohio State. Remember that?
Yep. I mean,
I was like, hey, you really throw your whole program under the bus like that, dude? Like you don't understand what you're saying?
And there's still some Wolverine fans that don't believe it's actually true that the NCAA has no proof. Then why is this still a thing? Why is the NCAA even still?
Well, like I said,
why are people backtracking?
If it was a nothing burger like they claim, it would have already been settled by now. If it was just a loss of a couple scholarships, a fine, Michigan would have taken that deal months ago and got it over with. I mean, there's no way it's just going to be a slap on the wrist, no matter how much you want to believe.
And the important thing to think about is it can't be, because let's say the NCAA does just slap them on the wrist. Then the NCAA basically might as well just disband or just not even be in college football anymore. Because at that point, you just look like an even bigger joke than people have made you out to be for years anyway. They have to punish them harshly to have power. They have to.
And what's going to stop other teams from doing it if they let Michigan get away with this?
Exactly.
Every other team's going to do it. It's going to be a free-for-all. I mean,
and that's something they don't want. So yeah,
it's already a free-for-all right now with NIL and stuff. It can't.
Well, this is the thing. That's like out of the NCAA's control, mainly because of the court and Congress, because they're not going to allow them to like do any, because they believe any kind of rules the NCAA set in is unconstitutional. So, that's out of their hands. And that's why they're making rules with their court now to try to make things so that way they can have some control over the NIL and the transfer portal.
It was the NCAA's fault anyway.
It's their fault for not adapting, but still, it's like
they had a chance for years to set it up right. And they didn't. Yeah. They just said, meh, here you go.
Well, they were so hurt by it that they lost. They just set the guidelines, but they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to be in control. If they would set the guidelines and, set guardrails, it would have been under control and there would have been no issues with it. Now,
well, actually, they did try. Actually, they did try, but remember they got sued by Tennessee, and then when Tennessee won, the NCAA just threw up their hands and said, you know what, F it, y'all go ahead and have the Wild West at that point.
But the toothpaste was already out of the tube by then when they tried to reel it back in. Yeah. I mean, it was already damage was done. I mean,
they should have had the government in on it and helping them set it up.
Just like they're doing now. Like you're doing it now because now it's like, it's such a wild west. But then you also look at the stuff that's like happening with the transporter and NIL. I think the NCAA wanted that stuff to happen because it gives these schools like they gonna start complaining. But it's like y'all wanted this, so if you're gonna want us to set some guidelines, you better follow it from here on out. And there better not be no complaining.
Right, that's possible.
So I think
you got Kirby Smart complaining about it when most of the time it benefits him.
I mean, let's be realistic about the SEC though, because they don't got the money or the resources like the Big Ten schools, and like for the SEC, you got away with doing this when before NIL was even legal, and now that it's straight up even, y'all are just like y'all not the best conference anymore because now you can't just buy players, you got to actually
crazy how that works.
That was funny to me. But it's like But you do got to set some guidelines. I mean, look at the Xavier Lucas situation with Wisconsin. You don't think the NCAA was smiling at that? Like, this is what we wanted to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And or the Nico Amaliva situation with
Mm-hmm.
UCLA. I mean,
I'm
karma
a
for
leaver.
Tennessee. Karma for Tennessee, because that's what you get. So, like, I mean, you don't think they want this to happen? This way you can set some guidelines? Because then you're shut up and start following them.
I see some Tennessee fans bragging they beat us in softball.
And good on you. That's great. Now, eventually,
42-17.
yeah.
42-17.
Now, Alex, we've had a heck of an offseason. A lot of changes. Two new coordinators. Going into this year, what's your feel on the team so far? How do you like the hires?
I love the Tyler Bowen hire. I got to see his development, but I have a feeling it's going to be at least as good as Fry's, so that'll be great. But he's already 100 times the recruiter Fry ever was, so I love that hire. The Brian Hartline promotion, I'm keeping an open mind about it. Obviously, we have this saying, and we've had it for the last few years at the very least, because of what we've been through with the hires that we've had, is you don't cut your teeth at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And obviously Day winning a natty has overcome that whole aspect, because obviously he's cutting his teeth at Ohio State. So I'm trying to keep an open mind about it. We will see if it works out in our favor. I hope it does. I mean, you really can't screw this offense up, but people find a way to do it. Ed Warner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as he's better than Ed Warner, it should be all right. And if it just falls off a cliff, Ryan Day does know how to call plays, even though we've wanted him off of that for a little while now. And once he finally got off of it, look what happened. Yep. So I didn't expect Chip Kelly to leave. I really didn't. I thought he'd be here for at least 2-3 years and then he'd dip, not right away. So that kind of hurt.
I mean, if he got an offer from the NFL, he was going to take it.
Yeah, and now he's already pissing off Raiders fans because he's changing Genty's running back stance. So great. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Genty's not that great. Let's be honest about ourselves. And he played in the G5. I get he did good against Oregon, but Oregon's run defense is trash.
Why isn't he good?
I'm not saying. Here's the thing. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's as good as people made him out to be. Like, I don't think he was a top 10 pick. Like, late first round, early second round, maybe even mid first round at the best. But he's like top, like y'all making him out like as if he's this generational, I have not seen him since Barry Sanders type running back. Like, no, that's not what he is. He's a good running back, but there's still some things he's got to work on to be better. So, like,
to be fair, not in this day and age, really running backs shouldn't be first round anyway. But I mean, they are starting to trend back upwards because of Saquon and stuff like that. So maybe you'll see it more often now. But I mean, yeah, would I have taken him top 10? No, but would I have taken him first round? Probably. I think he'll have a good career.
I think he could be, again, late first round, like most likely late first round. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. It's when you take him in the top 10 is where I got the problem.
Yeah,
and by the way, I'm going to say this. Thank you, Doodah Man, for the $10 hairball. Don't lie, cheat, or steal. That is fun.
One thing though, I do like that we kind of have in place though. If Brian Hartline does struggle a little bit, you got Tyler Bowen, who was an offensive coordinator, has experience calling plays, and you still got Ryan Day there. So
yeah, I think I've heard Tyler Bowen is working with him on that, as well as Day, of course. So we have backups. I mean, I'm not overly worried about that. The biggest thing I worry about is defensive line. That's where the problems are right now. If we can get that going better than we have, and hopefully maybe because Jim Knowles is gone, it'll free up Larry Johnson to do what he does. Hopefully we'll see better results out of that. But defensive line wise, that's the big for this team right now for sure.
I'll say this, like with First of all, with Brian Hartline, people in the Woody Hayes has said he did better. He's better as an offense coordinator than he was in 22. Like superiorly, so much better.
That's good.
He's still got some things to learn and get better at, which is why he's going to be working with Tyler Bowen, mainly with the run game, because that's like Harbaugh understands the pass game, like he knows it, but it's like the run game he knows, but he's still like got to figure some stuff out. So Tyler Bowen will help him out with that.
Right.
But when it comes to the defensive line, I'll say this. Here's what I'm worried with the D-line. It's really just nose tackle where Cade McDonald, because who's the backup to Cade McDonald? Like, I'm not worried about the tackles behind Edric Houston because I think those guys will be just fine. I think they'll be good. I think they'll be really good. But I don't know about nose tackle because I don't want Cade McDonald playing some 70-some snaps and getting hurt. I want to know who's going to be playing behind Cade McDonald. I love the fact that we got the North Carolina guy out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But who's behind Caden?
It looks like Will Smith Jr. is probably going to be the second behind him.
And how good would he be? Would be my question.
Well, if he's half as good as his dad was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to get bigger for starters. He needs to get bigger.
Yeah, he's got to put on a little bit. When I saw him a couple months ago, when I went to watch practice, he's got some decent size to him, but he's not the biggest guy in the room for sure. And I mean, it's not like we don't have guys on this defensive line that we can't have any confidence in. Like, obviously, there's Kenyatta, Caden, guys like that. CJ Hicks is probably going to be around that defensive line this year, and hopefully will be unleashed like we've been waiting patiently for him to be. We got guys there. It's just that we're not like super deep, and the overall aura around the defensive line hasn't been what it should have been for the last few years. I mean, obviously, in the playoff run they stepped up, but
honestly, if you ask me, like, we had a great defensive line unit in 2021. Like, those guys as freshmen really showed you potential, but when Jim Knowles became the D coordinator, you saw things change with the D line because at that point they were just playing within the system and they hated that freaking system. They felt like they were getting handcuffed like crazy.
And that's going back to Sean's original question: what hires do I like? Everybody dogged the Matt Patricia hire, but you already see the players really gravitating towards him, and they seem to have a better energy to them. And this team just won a natty. And they have a better energy to them. They're way more excited for stuff. So it's something to look at. Wolverine fans have something to say always, and they're like, oh, well, get ready for his bend but don't break stuff. You're going to really hate that. Well, I don't care how he did as the Detroit Lions head coach. They suck. They're decent now. They might suck again because they lost every coach under the sun. But I could care less about what he did as a head coach. I know that he won Super Bowl rings as a DC.
Exactly.
Had top 10 defenses in the NFL. And they said the same thing about the Chip Kelly hire, and look how that turned out. So
I think the one great thing I like about the Matt Patricia is I think he's gonna play to the strengths of what he's got. He's gonna put his guys in a position to be successful. He's not gonna sit here and say, you guys got to play the system I want to play. Okay, if I don't have the guys to play that system, well, what do I got the guys to do? And that's what we're going to tailor the defense to.
Exactly.
That's the best part about it.
He's very adaptive, and that's what I like. That's why I see guys like CJ Hicks having a big year, because he's going to put him in the spots that he's going to thrive in instead of holding him back the entire time. And I'll never stop raving about us hiring Laurinaitis a couple of years or so ago. Exactly. I love it. I love it. So
I mean, look what he's doing in recruiting right now. Yeah.
I'm not worried about the back seven. Lock it down. We're good. It's just that front four.
Four. Now, what do you think if you had to pick, one position group on each side of the ball to be our strength, what would you think it would be?
Offense is pretty easy. Wide receiver. That will never not be the biggest strength of that offense as long as Brian Hartline's there. And I think I don't know if the rumblings are still going on, but there was rumors that Chris Carter might be stepping into a role with the wide receivers at some point. If he ends up, let's say, for the sake of the argument, taking over the wide receiver coaching position, I don't see that falling off either. We'll see how good he can coach, though. I'll keep the expectations blank until I see what I can. And then defensively, the secondary easily. There's just so many studs, and honestly, like they say, Lorenzo Styles Jr. is really stepping up in that nickel spot that Hancock was in. I'm interested to see how that pans out because I want Lorenzo to be good so bad, just like his dad was.
I love his dad.
I got to
Love
see
it.
I got to see his mom when I was at that practice, and I was getting Lorenzo's autograph, and I said, "I'm glad your son decided not to stay with Notre Dame and come home because it's a rite of passage. If your father plays for Ohio State, it's a rite of passage that you should also." And he's a lot happier here, and why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
He just won a natty.
Over
with
his
his brother.
former team. Over his former team.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see that, and then you just got studs. I mean, Igby hopefully, please God, he learns not to draw a flag at least 5 times a game.
I've talked about that. The only reason he does that is because there are times he gets beat because of his footwork, because he gets tricked by the wide receiver with the footwork. That's always been the problem. Even in the NFL, you're seeing that. Like, you have DBs that get beat and they just grab because they get beat.
And in the NFL, you get really punished for it because it's a spot foul.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to get that beaten out of his system, and hopefully he will by the glory of God. And then you got guys that are coming up like Aaron Scott, Bryce West.
I love him.
Yeah, we got a lot of great guys in that secondary, and
Devin Sanchez.
We're reloading it, and he might get some playing time this year too. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a lot of great guys in that secondary, so I'm not worried about them one bit.
Now, you said you were at the practice this year, correct? You were at the practices?
Yeah, I went to the Student Appreciation Day. I still have a Buck ID that I still look pretty much like, so
Nice.
I abuse it until I lose it,
Now, was there someone in that practice that really surprised you that you were just like, wow, kind of just shocked you that you didn't expect kind of just took you by surprise?
Wide receiver Quincy Jones. That's a name to keep in mind. And of course, I was talking to a buddy of mine who does a show too. We were watching it together, and I said, "Who's that number 11?" He goes, "Oh, Quincy Jones." I'm like, "Man, every
Porter?
time Porter. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm getting mixed up. Quincy Porter. I'm like, every time he gets open against anybody, and anytime the ball's thrown his way, he's just making these miraculous catches. And of course, that very day he loses his black stripe. I was like, I see why. I think he's going to be a secret weapon, like a JSN type of thing, going forward. I think he'll get some playing time quicker than people realize. He'll be a name outside of Jeremiah at some point. Obviously, Jeremiah is going to be the creme de la creme of names in that room, but I think Quincy Porter will be a guy that people go, "Oh, that guy, I like him." So that's just me. Defensively wise, I mean, Devin Sanchez did stand out for me, but he's a name that everybody's going to know really quickly anyway. Sure. He's good. Yeah. He's good. He was locking down Jeremiah a little bit at points, so that was very impressive. Aaron Scott was too. So I'm not worried about those guys at all. They got bright futures.
What do you love about the linebackers in particular?
Just how much better they're coached. Because I don't know if you remember the Bill Davis era. But God, very painful. Urban was like, "Yeah, let me hire my best man from my wedding. That'll go great." That didn't go great.
No, nepotism.
It did not.
It did not. And like, even though it was past his time, just having to deal with, God love him, Tough Borland, and
poor kid. Yeah. I mean, they gave him an impossible feat in that national championship game. Cover Devontae Smith. Come on, man. That kid had no chance, and
I get it, but I don't need we're past the mid 2000s version of a linebacker. I need something. I need something different. I need what we got right now. Arvell Reese,
nasty,
just a dog. Give me that guy. I need that guy.
Cody Simon, Sonny Styles.
Yep, Sonny Styles.
Peyton Pierce, he a nasty one.
Yes. So I like how much better they're coached.
And look at
no
the young
surprise.
Kids. Look at the two young kids they brought in with Alfred and Pettijohn.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah. And
Pettijohn
Eli Lee,
already
don't
racing
forget
that
him.
rivalry.
Don't
Yep.
forget Eli either.
Yep. They all got bright futures as long. And the good thing about it is, fun fact about me, I used to work at Target like almost 10 years ago, and I happened to somehow work with James Laurinaitis' mom. And
Oh,
once I figured it out, I'd ask her questions from time to time.
Mhm.
This James Laurinaitis is a very loyal guy. Once he got traded from the Rams to the Saints, I believe in the NFL,
Mhm.
mhm.
he almost lost his passion for playing because he wanted to be with his team that gave him a chance. He's that loyal. So him being home at Ohio State, a place he loves deeply, he might never leave. So
True.
this is going to be a guy that's like the Brian Hartline of the defense that's going to keep recruiting these high level dudes because they're like, I get to play for James Laurinaitis. Sign me up. Like, this is the all time leading tackler for the St. Louis LA Rams.
Yeah.
Like, let me play for that guy. And
Oh yeah.
so I love it. I love
It's
it.
super funny too, because it's like him and Tim Walton. Like it's funny because him and Tim Walton are on this coaching staff, and Tim Walton coached him in the NFL as the DC, which I found
Mhm.
so funny. That
Both
was-
former Buckeyes too, so it
Yeah.
makes it
yeah,
all the
that's
better.
even better.
Makes it
And
all
not
the-
only that, I almost forgot about Garrett Stover, Kate Stover's cousin.
Mhm.
I hear he's a pretty good linebacker.
He might be. We'll see who gets in there. I'm really excited for Arvo Reese to just
Yeah.
take the next step this year. I think he's going to be so good. So we'll see what he can do. But I think the defense, just in general, I mean, obviously it was great last year. I think it's going to be even better this year. To be
See,
honest,
I've heard other people say that, and people are like, even better than the number one defense, but I think it's probably going to be more athletic than what we were last
Yeah.
year. Would you think?
that defense didn't look like number one defense in Eugene, Oregon. So I
No.
mean, there was room to improve. Even in that natty run, there was some room to improve there.
I mean,
Very
terrible
little
play
at that.
calling. Let's
Yeah.
be honest with that one.
Very little room at that point with the playoff run because we played pretty well overall. But yeah, I think it's going to be even better just because with Matt Patricia, there's going to be a lot more freedom for a lot of guys that were previously kind of shackled. So I think it's going to be better. Offense,
They
we'll
may-
see.
Yeah, they may not have looked like the number one defense, but man, they were really killing offenses, just preventing people from scoring over anywhere like close to 20 points. Like the closest you were getting was 17. That was it.
The biggest, most impressive thing of that defense last year was how many times they got put in like goal line situations and just
Oh
stopped it.
yeah,
That's
they
what
were stuffing people at the goal line. Love
I
it.
had been fiending for that for years. I'm like, just give me a defense like that and we'll win it again. And then we got a defense like that and won it again.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, the most impressive one was every time Chiefs kept trying to pound it up the middle on them, and they were just stuffing it every time. Like they were
Yeah.
like, "You cannot run the ball on us in the red zone. We're gonna catch you every time." And the greatest one, the goal line stand against Texas. That is the greatest one of all time.
Yep.
The most memorable.
I just needed them to tackle Khalil Mullins one more time. That would have been great.
Yeah.
They
But,
would have had they not played so many goddamn snaps.
But we should have been up by 3 touchdowns at
Yeah.
that point, so that's whatever.
Yeah.
In all fairness, too, we talked about this with Brandon Rogers, where he said if you look at certain situations that happened with Ohio State, it's almost as if they were meant to lose that game. Not trying to excuse it, but I'm just saying certain things like the Will Howard concussion. It was clear that dude was hurt. I did not. I was so ticked because I was like, it's funny how we get 3 targeting penalties, but when it happens to our players, we don't get one.
Mm-hmm.
Like our opposing opponent doesn't get 1 targeting penalty, and it was clear he got hit in the head. Will Howard did.
Listen, Ohio State beat themselves that day.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah,
They
that's
have
no doubt about
they have
and they
the
played
last
right
few
into
years.
their hands. Played
Yeah.
right into their hands. Right what they wanted you to do.
You know, the Wolverine fans like to say, well, you threw the ball 33 times. Yeah, well, like 4 of them were over 10 yards. We barely tried to go deep on you. Oh, well, you didn't have time. We had time a few plays, and we didn't go deep at all. We didn't even try. Anytime we threw to number 4, it was either a touchdown or a pass interference call. Just chuck it up to him. And
That's what I would have done.
even in the natty, it took until that game-sealing catch for him to get a catch that entire second half. That can't happen. That can't happen.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm okay with Hartline being the OC play caller now, because he's going to get number 4 the ball.
Oh yeah.
Period.
The only time I'm gonna say you shouldn't do that is if he's getting like double coverage every time when he has like
And he
two
might still catch it.
Yeah.
He might. I mean, yeah, he just might. But it's like you also got to
He
think
might
smart in
still
that regard because if everybody's paying attention to Jeremiah Smith, guess what you
Well,
got? One-on-ones with Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis, and
It-
Carnell Tate's an alien. I don't care what
Espe-
nobody says.
Especially if Julian Saint's a quarterback and he's a little short. So yeah, I agree with that.
I think we're going to see some 4 wides. With
I mean, he's not that short. He's like 6'2".
I hope.
They say he's like 6'2", 6'2".
He's not.
He's not.
I'm 6 foot. He's a little shorter than me. He's like 5.
Oh, really? You were seeing him in person? That's funny.
Ohio State, in like any college, they're notorious for inflating height stats and stuff like that. They said Tate Martell was that tall too. He was very short. He's a very short guy.
Oh, so he's like 5 something.
Yeah, he wasn't tall either. So Julian Saint's gonna have some times probably early on where he gets some balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. He's gonna have to learn to adapt to that.
So
I
if
think
you're
he
6
will.
foot, that would mean he's 5'11".
Yeah, he was like 5.
That is crazy.
All schools
Maybe-
do that, though. I mean,
Yeah. Everybody does.
Yeah, but you don't inflate it so much to the point where you're saying somebody's 6'2". Like, don't do that.
With elevator shoes on, maybe.
yeah. I mean, cleats
Wedges.
on. I mean,
Nope. The wedge inserts that you put in
Yeah.
sometimes. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Yeah.
people
But-
do that. I mean, that's no, it's
Okay,
no
so they're
shocker.
basically saying with your cleats on, you're 6'2", but without your cleats, you like 5'11", basically.
I mean,
Maybe.
maybe.
Give or take. Give or take. Give or take. Yeah. Do you guys think Saint's going to be the starter?
I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with what guys like Zach Smith have said. I think it's already a done deal. They're just not going to say anything until later on. Yeah, not that Kindholz isn't capable. I think he is, but I just the way Julian Saint throws that football, and I don't say this often because Aaron Rodgers is my Lord and Savior.
Oh, nope.
Yeah, I know you're from Chicago. I'm a Packers fan. Go
No,
Packers.
I'm not a Chicago Bears fan. But
Okay,
I dislike
okay.
Aaron Rodgers. I dislike Aaron Rodgers for
Okay.
how much of an a-hole he acts like.
That's the media talking to you.
Yeah.
He's a
Not
great
what
guy.
I hear from Garrett Wilson.
He's a great guy. Yeah, Garrett Wilson didn't get to be around him enough. But he throws Julian Saint throws a lot like Aaron Rodgers, and
Yeah.
that is.
I can say that
Football
about
player,
Aaron
man.
is that he's got a good arm. Like, I used to be a fan of his, but the more I started seeing his personality and the more he started acting, I'm like, dude, come on, man. I like you.
He throws a football better than anybody has ever thrown a football in the history of the game.
He's not better than I'm not gonna lie, because and this is gonna sick me to say this, he's not better at throwing the ball than Tom Brady. I'm sorry.
Yes, he is.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, he is.
I don't think so.
Tom Brady even says that Aaron Rodgers is a more talented, better quarterback than him. He said
And
that.
that's
He's
Tom
on
Brady
record.
for you.
He's on record. Now,
Hey.
Tom Brady just was at the right place, right time, and was good enough to make it work. You
There-
put Aaron
there's-
Rodgers on that Patriots team all those years, 9, 10 rings.
If he can act like a leader, then yeah.
He
There's a
can.
guy named Dan Marino who could throw a beautiful ball too.
Yeah, Dan Marino throws the ball better than Tom Brady ever did. Oh God, yeah.
If I'm being
Not
honest
always.
too, I think the thing about you being a franchise quarterback is you have to have more than just talent. It takes character, traits, leadership, and intangibles. If you have all that, you're gonna be fine.
I need you.
It's something I
guys.
say about like an idiot named Caleb Williams, which don't even get me ranting on his butt. Don't even get me started with him.
Put this guy's comment, this Bobby Mack up. I need to roast him right now. Now listen, Brett Favre is the reason I became a Packers fan. I love Brett Favre. I love him a lot. Rodgers is a million times better thrower of the football than Brett Favre.
Even I can admit that.
Look up the top 10 touchdown to interception ratios in NFL history. Aaron Rodgers owns every single one of them. Okay, he is a much better thrower of the football than Brett Favre. Brett Favre had
Oh,
a
that's
cannon,
not even a discussion. That's
but
shit
but
too,
he
like-
he was real risky throwing that football. So I love Favre. I love Brett, but he is not a better thrower of football.
Just ask the Vikings how risky he was. He cost them a chance at the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
against
And
the Saints.
it made me sick. I was rooting for him in that game. It made me sick.
I was too. I couldn't believe he threw that.
Oh man, that was funny.
Now,
Like even I wouldn't go that far and say he was. Like, I can admit that Aaron Rodgers is a better thrower of football than Brett Favre by a mile.
I
That's not even
love Brett Favre, but that is not.
yeah, the guts. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
I love watching him play.
guys.
But yeah, Julian saying very very much. Oh, that's true too. Julian saying is definitely, he has that intangible to him that I really like, and I think he was good enough for Nick Saban. He's got to be good enough for us, right?
Exactly.
Yep. I mean, Nick Saban has missed on some quarterbacks too, but still, he gets some one
for sure. And I've said this time and time again. Ohio, when can you name a year Ohio State's won a national title with an elite quarterback?
Not really.
I mean, maybe Rex Kern for the time he was considered elite, right?
Sure.
But like,
was he more of an option quarterback though? I mean, we don't need just like I said before we got Will Howard, I'm like, we don't need a guy who's out of this world astronomical. No.
We just need a guy who's above average and can get the ball to the playmakers.
I mean, look what they did. The offensive line's going to be so much better this year. It's going to be one of the strengths of the team. And you got all those weapons around him.
Yeah.
And I think C.J. Davison is going to be a lot better running back than what I figured he's going to be. He's more explosive than what I thought. I thought he was going to be more of a bruising back.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's got weapons all around him. He doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to carry the team.
Yeah. People are, obviously if I had to pick a position group, it would either be the tight ends or the offensive lines on offense that I'm like question marked about. But people are forgetting that, like, we lost Josh Simmons. Yeah, we lost what's his name? It's escaping me right now. Isn't there another one? Yeah, Seth McLaughlin. We lost them, but four of the projected starters right now all had playing time last year and started at some points. So,
and started in the national title game.
Yeah,
and won a Cincinnati.
And we got that guy from Rice whose last name I can't even come close to pronouncing.
Oniawa.
Oniawa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him in person too at that practice. I was like, all right.
Yeah, that dude, bro. I mean, they all said it. He would have been a second round pick had he won in the NFL draft this past year, but he chose to come here.
Plug him in. It's fine.
By the way,
who's next? Don't even think about it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Alex, here's Eric, our friend here. He says he wasn't a better, talking about Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't a better texter than Brett Favre. And Tyler kind of had a little something. You want to read that one?
I remember. Yeah. Hey.
It's super funny is they actually bring. Chris says he's like the tough. Like Favre was the toughest SOB to play in the league. He was the toughest type of dude. Wow, he might not be that great of a passer, but he definitely was a tough SOB.
That's probably. It's probably why he's going to end up having Alzheimer's someday.
Yeah.
Because of that.
And then obviously like Grandpa Buck's talking about like no Joe Montana love. Elway was as good as much, and I hated the Broncos. Hey, look, no, we're not giving those guys any props. It's true. Those guys were excellent quarterbacks. I think
Joe Montana's more of the GOAT than Tom Brady.
I do too.
I'm not gonna lie, I do too, to be honest.
I'll never say Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah, because he's a Michigan boy.
No,
never.
It goes deeper than that, but yeah, that's the basis of it.
Yeah, but I like I'm gonna say this. Like for me, it's Montana, Brady, Mahomes, Montana, Elway. Those are my guys right then and there. I take those guys were incredible quarterbacks. I can't listen as much as I hate Tom Brady for being a Michigan. Okay, look, he's not my favorite. Okay, I don't like
Aaron Rodgers. Large drop off. How about Peyton Manning? That guy was pretty good,
Yeah, I like Peyton Manning. I'm not gonna lie, I loved him. He was one of my favorites. He was one of my favorites watching him, and his brother Eli was super entertaining too. It was kind of fun.
God, one of the most average quarterbacks of all time, and he's got 2 rings.
Right,
that guts me all the time.
And give him this. He actually did win he actually did make some incredible passes. Like, thank God you had.
Those are the only reason he's ever going to be in the Hall of Fame, because with a career 500 record, you have no business being in the Hall of Fame. But those 2 rings are going to get him in at some point.
I mean, he beat that New England. They beat that New England team. Then
beat him again.
Yeah.
Twice.
They were incredible, man. You got to give him credit. Is in those big game moments. Eli stepped up. He did his thing. Gotta give him credit for that one.
And every other year they were average.
Yeah, that's what was so funny.
I mean, they even went in Green Bay and beat Green Bay that one.
Don't remind me.
Oh, Hey man, you're not a Browns fan like I am, so you.
I'm about to say, listen, I be being a Packers fan instead of being a Browns fan.
Hey, look,
I'm not a Browns fan.
I get it, but I watched my organization have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row and only get 2 Super Bowls out of them when there was way more left on the table.
I mean, let's be real. Aaron Rodgers did it. Both Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre did choke at times. Sometimes that was their own fault.
They did, but I mean, God, if they would have just gotten him at least like 1 first-round wide receiver when they had the chance, maybe that could have changed the tide, or a better defensive coordinator instead of keeping the same one that let up like 500 yards in a playoff game multiple years in a row. Just fire the guy, fire him. No, okay, we'll just keep losing when it matters the most. Colin Kaepernick's just gonna chew up our defense every year. That's cool.
Yeah, that was funny to me. I'm like, I enjoy that too, and I enjoy talking NFL. And here's the funny thing: I'm not a Chicago Bears fan, but try living with my uncle and my dad, who are Chicago Bears fans, and how much they hate this team.
I don't feel sorry for them.
Especially for because here's the thing. They loved Justin Fields, and the Bears screw it up by drafting the one bum they shouldn't have. And it's like, guys, you listen, for someone like me, who I might not be a fan of the Bears, I rooted for the Bears because you had Justin Fields. Justin's one of my favorite quarterbacks all time.
Two questions for you. Who do you root for in the NFL?
Who do I root for?
Yeah.
The Chiefs are my favorite team. They actually have been since I was a kid.
Okay, that's fair.
But I do have other teams that I favor in the NFL.
That's fair.
Well.
And are your dad and you said your grandpa,
uncle,
are they both Buckeye fans?
Yeah. Well, my dad is. My dad is a Buckeye fan. My uncle is an Alabama fan.
Okay. Tell your dad the Chicago Bears are the Michigan Wolverines of the NFL, and they got the helmet to prove it. They wear that winged helmet too. They're the exact same thing. Bears fans, Wolverines fans. They go hand in hand. They're the same thing.
And it's so funny because I hate the Bears for what they did to Justin. It's like y'all had me rooting for you just because of him.
Yeah.
And then you screw it up because you don't build around the guy. And
the Steelers disappointed me with that too. I thought that they were going to actually use them.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, he was doing good. He actually should have been 5-1 if their defense don't choke against the Cowboys. But that's another story.
They played that off bad.
Yeah, and it's like if you actually built the offense around Justin, again, like you actually had a good offense there, and more importantly, instead you choose to go with the older quarterback, which this is why like Pittsburgh Steelers fans have an issue with Mike Tomlin. And I hate to say this about Mike Tomlin, but you are literally right now the definition of a third base head coach because everything you did was with Bill Cowher's players, and ever since all those guys left, you have not been the same dude. You have not.
I will say this: never had a losing season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Who cares if you're not winning? Because at some point, you're like fans have gotten so tired.
I get it.
It's like,
I get it.
It's like they have. You know what they always say with Pittsburgh Steelers? The standard is the standard, and what is the standard there?
He's never having a losing season.
No, not for Pittsburgh Steelers. No,
I get it. You look at the NBA, you see coaches getting fired 2 years after winning the title, and they have great records. So I get it. He probably should be replaced, but they're a very old school organization. Yeah. I think he has a job there as long as he doesn't go under 500 a lot. So
I guess that is true, but at some point, you got to go over the board and win a Super Bowl. You got to. I agree. You got to do something. Like you can't keep being this average, like not even average. Like you're kind of like you're just being middle of the pack right now at the utmost. You can't keep doing that.
I agree.
I just think it's his message is probably getting stale out there. It's probably better for a change. But like you said, they're loyal and they're very old school.
That's why I worry about Howard's chances there. I mean, I think he's going to be a career backup anyway, but just imagine if they do get Aaron Rodgers teaches him for a year or two, and then maybe Will gets a chance.
That is the one thing I would say was good with. Please. If Aaron Rodgers does go there, is he teaches him.
Oh, that would be so great. I'd be so thrilled for Will if he gets to learn from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. We could that would be so awesome. And every now and again, I guess we can all start talking about the NFL and start checking in with the Buckeyes in the NFL.
Yeah, for
every
sure.
Now and again, we can all start doing that.
Can never talk enough about them.
Yeah, we never talk enough, so we might as well start talking about the Buckeyes in the NFL. And if you guys heard anything, Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant have been looking like disappointments thus far. I'm like, you shocked? I'm not. Especially Mason Graham. That's what's funny. Now they always say like what you look like in OTAs and all that could look different on the field, but if you've seen anything with Michigan's team from 21 to 23, yeah, all those guys that are disappointments in training camp, they're every bit the disappointment on the field. Even the guys who look good end up being disappointments. Like it always just happens to be that way with their team.
Hey, listen, you won't hear me complain if they don't make it in the NFL.
I don't either. I mean,
at all.
I've talked about it multiple times, dude. We had more players on rosters in 2024 than they did. They had like 5 players. We had 6.
It's been that way for a while. They don't.
Matter of fact, no, it was 8 because I remember I think all 8 of them got on the team, whether that be as practice squad or basically on special teams, really. But they all literally was like on the team. We had like 8 players. They had 5. We now got 6. So it was pretty funny to me. I'm like,
yeah.
And it won't be long before Zach Zinner gets cut because that dude sucks.
Yeah.
And wait till you see JJ McCarthy.
Now, Alex,
their development,
yeah. This season coming up, what do you think is the floor? And what's the ceiling for our team coming in this season?
I always try to be realistic. Even though a lot of people say that I'm not objective, I am. So for me, and I said this last year going into the season, I said the floor was 10-2. I think the floor is 10-2. And honestly, I think that's probably what we go. You know, we have to. It's really going to depend on the defensive line and the offensive line and how those pan out and how Julian Sayin adapts. The Texas game will only tell us so much because it's the first game of the year. Yes, against a great opponent, but you know we're going to learn more when we go to Washington than we do against Texas, personally. But 10-2 is definitely the floor. Until I see otherwise, the team up north game is probably a loss until Ryan Day shows me that he can get it out of his head and actually coach it like he should. And then Texas is probably the other one, just because they dominated the portal with defensive linemen. Arch Manning, if he pans out like everybody thinks he's going to, they should be pretty good. If we can win that game, though, that does a lot for the confidence of a young quarterback and everybody else going forward. But we're not going to go worse than 10-2. So we'll make the playoffs, unlike some teams who win a natty, even though they didn't win it legitimately, of course, as we all know. And they don't make the playoffs because they suck the next year. And their suck is their actual normal. They don't understand that. Like 7-5, 8-5, whatever they went, that's like normal for that team. If we ever went 8-5, I don't know if Columbus would exist anymore. So 10-2 is definitely the floor. 10-2 is what I expect. And obviously the ceiling's 13-0 going into the playoffs. The team is capable. Can they do it? An Ohio State team has never repeated. They should have, but they stubbed their toe in Ann Arbor in '69, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or 2015 when they stepped their toe against Michigan State in their own stadium.
Yeah. I mean, we've been close a couple times. Will we in my lifetime? God, I hope so. That'd be pretty cool.
I think that'd be great.
I just don't think it's going to be this year. I think 2026 is a much more realistic option for the next natty. But I like I said, when JT Barrett went down and Cardale Jones came in, I'm welcome to being surprised.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can surprise me, I'm all for it. So we'll see.
I think we all know this is not realistic, but or it could be if this happens. But Ohio State repeats in 25 and then goes ahead and does it again in 2026 with the new playoff format. How fun would that be?
Listen, I wouldn't bet anything on it.
No,
I wouldn't either. I'm just saying, how great would it be?
But if he ended up being right, I might come to you for lottery numbers. So.
Hey, look, I'm not saying I'm going to be right. I just want to know how that would feel. Because for me, there's a part of me that feels like it could happen. Because this is the year where it's like, there is no juggernaut team. That's the best thing about this whole NIL thing is there's no juggernaut now. It's even across the board.
All we got to do is make the playoff.
Yeah. If we can repeat this year and then they change it 2 years from now. Well, not even 2 years. They may change it in 26, and then we become the first team in history to win that new version of the playoffs. We'd be the only team, legitimately, because right now we are literally the only team that has won a national championship in every single era of the national title games, every
Mhm.
single era of the college football playoffs. We're the only team that's done
Yep.
that. And if we
Yep.
can do that, that would be excellent. And I would love to be three-peating so I could rub it in the scum's face. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But I would love for it to.
Yeah, I mean that team up north game will tell me their chances. It always does. And even though last year we saw what we saw, and then we ended up winning it anyway. That's something I used to dog Alabama fans for back in 2017. So the fact that I've had to adapt and now live that experience has sucked in some aspects.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you got to win that team up north game. That thing's got to switch back to the good guys. And
I think it will.
I think if you do that, then this team really has a good shot. But obviously, the Penn States of the world are around there.
We gonna get into them.
One of these days, we'll lose to them, guys. It'll happen again. Hopefully not this year. Hopefully not for a long time. But
2031.
Yeah, but obviously the last time we lost to them, we basically handed them the game on stupid special teams miscues. So hopefully it won't happen, but you never know. But if we have 2 losses for that team up north game, then I'm sweating a little. Then I'm like,
Illinois will be a tough game, man. Playing in Champaign, that's going to be.
Yeah, that's one I'm kind of looking at too. Like, all right, well, we haven't played them in a while. We were supposed to, and then COVID happened, but we'll see. We got some traps on there for sure.
Bobby Mack with a $5 holler.
Say it, John.
A ranking came out that left our 24 natty Bucks off the top 25 best teams of the 2000s. I say that team is top 15. What are your thoughts?
I think they are too.
I could see why they leave them off because they lost 2 games. I would be interested to see that list and see if they put LSU 2007 on that list, which if they're on that list, that's a travesty in and of itself.
Right.
That team never deserved to be in the national title game to begin with. And I'm not just saying that because they beat the Buckeyes. I would have said that regardless. Because of the time it was, a 2-loss team never deserved to be in that game ever. So I'd put them top 20 minimum. I think top 15 is fair too. You got to take the 2 losses into account, but the playoff run itself, I think, solidifies them in the top 15.
When you look at one of the losses, like the Michigan loss, you take that into account. But like the Oregon loss, I mean, that was actually against the number 1 team in the country. So and they were a good team, a great opponent. And a lot of things did not go our way, starting with like Joshua Simmons getting injured. Then Tegra, like whether people know it or not, Tegra did suffer a back injury in that game. It wasn't as bad, but it's still like Ohio State wasn't willing to take a chance. Like he did come back for like a play or 2, but then they took him out and put Austin Silva in, and we still did good. And I feel like we still had a second left on the clock. I am never gonna not budge on that.
Oh, I agree.
Go back and look at it. We still had a second left.
Ryan Davis calling timeout with like 2 seconds left.
Right. So it's like we got absolutely screwed.
And the ref was right there, and the ref just went.
Right. So like we got screwed on that one.
But
does
he make the kick? Does he make the kick?
He does. Yeah. I think
he didn't against the team up north.
Here's what I will say about this one. Because that was just weird. And he was in the red zone for that one, and that was just weird. But he did come through in the national title game, the Oregon game the following time, Texas. He did come through kicking the field goals when we needed him to. And I think he would have done it in the Oregon game because say whatever you want. The guy can't. I mean, he can kick 50-yarders. He's just not accurate with it. But he can make a 46-yard field goal. I'm confident he can. It's just
we got that new kicker from Ball State. We're fine.
Yeah, I mean that's the good thing is I think Ryan Day may do some rotations with the kicker like Nick Saban did when he had a kicker that could kick 50-yarders, and then he also had a kicker that could kick like in between 0 to like 49 yards. So having that I think works.
Our special teams has been a joke for so long.
2024 was the best the special team has looked since 2019,
and it still didn't look good. And it
didn't look great. But hey, at least we got a punt return for a touchdown for the first time in 10
I'd be
years.
willing to hire Jim Tressel as their special teams coach.
That would be awesome.
Bring him home.
How about Nate Ebner, since he was like part of the Patriots? He was
him.
He was such a big part of that too.
So
The former
So,
Buckeye
like-
trend has been working. Let's just
Yeah.
keep it going.
Yeah, keep
you
it
know?
going. That's what I would say. And I
Might
think
as
special
well.
teams will get better. I mean, at least they're finally addressing special teams. Like they addressed it with the punter, and now they're addressing it with the kicker. So at least you're
I'll
finally doing
believe it.
something.
I'll believe it when I see it.
No,
I'll
I
believe
agree with you, but I'm like, at least you're finally starting
Um,
to. At least, like you're starting
Right.
on the right foot. So
Please. Oh my
Now-
lord.
yeah. Now I'm gonna also bring it up with this. We could talk about the Jim Knowles, Penn State, Ohio State whole thing. Like, what is your thoughts on that?
That came as a surprise. But now that the information has come out to what happened and all that good stuff, good riddance. I mean,
Right.
that you didn't have your guys ready enough the last 3 years against the team up north anyway. Bye.
the whole to
I
come
mean,
on
I
by
think 2024 he had them ready. It's just that the offense disappointed in 24.
We should have had way more turnovers against that Wolverine team.
We should
I,
have.
I wasn't impressed, especially with that missed Khalil Mullins tackle. I was just like, screw this. Screw this.
Well, remember,
defense.
it's the rotations was a problem on defense because those guys were getting worn out with how little we were rotating in that game, and that's why I'm like, thank God we lost to that team because maybe it may convince them to finally start rotating, and they did.
I've been begging for Brian Hartline to rotate wide receivers for the last
I mean, he started doing it last year too.
7 years. So I want 4 or 5 wide sets. Like I don't get enough of those. Get those guys out there. For the longest time, Ryan Day wasn't really playing guys even in garbage time to get experience for the next year. You got to constantly be building like 2 years ahead, 2-3 years ahead, and people don't really get that. Like some fans don't get that either. And I'm just like, Day, come on, man. It's not the NFL anymore. You got to like build this for like 2 to 3 years in advance. Get these guys in, get them some reps. That's huge. That goes so far. That's why Texas is going to be fine this year because they got Arch Manning plenty of playing time.
And you never know when someone's going to get hurt. That's meaningful reps.
It's so important.
That's what irritated me about him not getting more reps last year.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Devin Brown.
I wish because, and I think it's because of Devin Brown, and this was like a natty or win type thing. So I don't think Ryan Day was going to be willing to put Sand out there because of that. But also Devin Brown was the best option because if Will Howard went down, he was the better option because he knew the playbook. He'd been here longer, so I can understand that. But I still wish he got Sand some more playing time. But it's like I could kind of understand why because that was just a natty season, and you weren't willing to do this with a freshman right now.
Yeah.
So I do think this will be good for saying that he is going to get some playing time this year. And then the little bit of playing time he got, he looked good. Now I know he had some throws that were a little kind of iffy, but he didn't have that many reps. So
I'm not worried about.
But that's the thing. I'm not worried about it because he didn't have that many reps. But
if he had more,
I'm not worried about
fine.
he would have been fine. And when it comes to the whole Penn State, like Jim Knowles, Ohio State thing, I've been the main guy critical of this one, and Sean knows this. I said it before, like, dude, your defense, you for the longest time have been handcuffing your defense, especially your D-line. I mean, your freaking defense. I mean, Denzel Burke and that defense, who are some of the most honest guys you're going to know, literally called you out for that garbage defense you had against Oregon. Like, they were calling him out for that. They literally, I mean, Denzel Burke said it was dog, basically. Literally said the word, and that's how bad that game plan was. Flat garbage. So, that's on you. And not only that, but you're literally calling like Penn State, James Franklin right after like hours after we won the Natty. Like, are you serious? This explains as to why nobody likes you because it's like, right. I mean, even the coaches were like, "What are you doing? Yeah. We just won the Natty. You should be celebrating with the players." And instead, you're everything that Ryan Day hate. Ryan Day don't take kids who act like you, who is just all about the money. You're all about the money, all about yourself. And Ryan Day just said, "Man, I don't care how good of a D coordinator you is. You can get the heck out of here. I don't want that
he
standard."
Just got a pay bump after last year,
right?
And for what?
And it's like you just signed a contract extension. So like what are you doing?
What? You didn't even earn it last year, and you were giving it. Like, good Lord.
Right.
Yeah, he proved that he has fragile feelings with his little response a week or so ago.
Especially with the fact that the coaches were, especially with how Ryan Day was breathing down his neck after the Oregon game.
That proved all the rumors true. That that made me be like, okay, I'm even more Team Larry than I was before. I'm like, this guy was just a control freak and just a sensitive loser that probably got chewed out by Day after that Oregon game, like everybody said he did, and he got his feelings hurt after that. And hey, it got us a natty, I guess, but bye
We
bye.
thank you for getting us a natty, but god dang, dude, once we find out who you are, we're like, well, no wonder Larry Johnson didn't like you.
The Penn State fans are all giddy about it. I'm like, good. I mean, in 3 years,
Good.
you'll probably have the best defense in the country, but it's going to take 3 years to install that defense. Good luck.
Some they don't understand because that's what all of us Buckeye fans have been telling them. Is like, guys, it's going to take a while for that defense.
We had
you ain't got the talent like Ohio
years.
State.
We had 3 years to wait for it.
Right. And Ohio State has better talent. We have better talent than you, and it took 3 years. So, like, what makes you think that it's not going to take that long?
Yeah,
you don't even have the coaches. Like, think about it. We still got the Oklahoma State coaches that he brought over to Ohio State. We got Matt Gary here still as well, and he needs Matt Gary here to help install that. And guess what? You ain't got that. You got to install it the way you do. So you're kind of screwed.
That's why it won't bother me if we don't run more 4-3 than 4-2-5 and stuff like that. I'll be fine with that. That's fine.
I'd be happy. That's what we've always been. Larry's been comfortable with.
Whatever works. Yeah.
It's not the fact that Larry's just been comfortable. I think Larry just wants a defense that can actually not handcuff his freaking D-line. Because, I mean, JT, Jack, Tyreek, and Ty all get this crap, but we all tend to forget that they were playing in a system that handcuffed them.
They're being caged.
And think about it too. Like, remember, we've seen JT and Jack's moves on how they can get to the quarterback. Like, they got them spin moves and those amazing type of like hand moves that they use, those amazing moves, and we rarely seen them use it. We started seeing them use it when they finally got the handcuffs taken off, mainly in the playoffs. So, like, that's when we started seeing them use it. So, you think Larry's telling these guys don't do that? No. He teaches them that.
So, good riddance. I'm good with it. Matt Patricia should be just as good, if not better, for a lot of reasons. So we'll see how it goes. If he ends up being like Kerry Coombs, then I'll eat my words. But anybody could be better than Kerry Coombs at DC. Let's be real. So
I love Matt Patricia because he knows how to evolve the defense around player personnel. He doesn't have a specific system. His system requires what he has with the players. That's it. And Chris, thank you for this comment. My boss is a Penn State fan. He said Knowles is a great hire, but as long as Franklin is the head coach, it doesn't matter practically. That's the other thing. Y'all Penn State fans tend to forget Franklin's your head coach.
I'll say this. I'll come to their defense a little bit. People said the same thing about Ryan Day. Oh, well, he'll never beat the team up north again. He'll never win a national championship. As long as he's your head coach, you aren't winning anything ever again. He did.
Well, I would say the difference is Ryan Day's been a head coach. He's a first-time head coach, and he was only doing it for 6 years. Whereas, like for James Franklin, you've been a head coach way longer than Ryan Day. And if you look at your record, bro,
now granted, if you take what happened last year away and you just put like a blind resume there, I'd have way more faith in Ryan Day to get it done than James Franklin. Yeah. That said, but never say never. You just never.
I'm not gonna say never. I
said Jim Harbaugh would never beat Ohio State. I didn't know he was going to cheat to do it. Granted,
I mean, he never really did, because if you beat Ohio State and you took your cheating to do it, bro, you're really just a bum. You didn't beat Ohio State.
Once they're vacated, then I'll get that back in my bag.
It will, because the NCAA, they've said it, they're vacating those wins. That's as well as taking away that national championship. They've been talking about that for the longest. And and again, for Michigan fans who think it's not going to happen, B. Moses literally had put it up on his show. I've been looking into it myself. It shows you they've been vacating national championships 18 times since 2018. So if people don't think that's not going to happen, please. And not only that, but they even tried talking about the CFP. Well, it's different. Dude, it doesn't matter that the CFP runs college football. They follow the NCAA's rules. They literally told you that. I've been saying it for the longest.
And that's a good point to bring up, because they like to think that the BCS wasn't a separate entity as well. And they had no issue taking USC's natty away. So it doesn't matter that, they get told something by the Wolverine media, and then they're like, yeah, that. And then they go with it too.
Don't forget about the Wolverine media, how they're talking about this kid they got from Indiana. Again, the whole Calvin Johnson. Y'all didn't learn your lesson from the Alex Orgees, Cam Newton, Donovan Edwards, Barry Sanders. I think they're saying one of their linebackers, I forget what this dude name is, but they saying he's he's Ray Lewis. And I'm like, are you y'all are on something today.
I know a blue two bongo, whatever his name is on Twitter. I know he was like, Donovan Edwards is a surefire first rounder,
and he went undrafted.
Oh, is he now? Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Coldest
And,
take of all time, really.
It was
Yeah.
the stupidest take. I swear to God, these
No,
Michigan fans never learn their lesson.
Quite a few, man. There's some very brilliant people on X. Let's just put it that way.
It's like I said before the show. Being a Wolverine fan is a disease.
Yeah.
They don't see it that way, of course, but it is.
I mean, people talk about autistic kids. I mean, autistic kids are smarter than these idiots. Like, these people are more than just autistic. They just flat out dumb.
They're
Ignorant,
a
arrogant.
special group.
Yeah.
They're more than just a special group. I'm gonna just tell you that now.
Yeah.
Tyler, I guarantee you, Matt Patricia is a significant upgrade with your nose because he's not gonna hand his players. He's not gonna hand off his players and restrict them to fit a system. That's fair.
Yep. True.
Well, Alex, we've been here for a little over an hour. We thank you for coming on. How can people find you?
Well, I use my gamer tag as my thing on all social media, so it's FlyDog92. Hopefully, at some point, we'll get the Buckeye Bro Show back up, and we'll have both of you on, and we'll shoot the what about some Buckeye football. But we'll see what happens. I got a busy job now where I travel everywhere, so it's a little
Okay.
hard.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, we'll hopefully get that back running. We'll talk some Buckeye football and get it going. But
You have an open invitation to come back, man. You're welcome anytime.
Anytime, man. You and your partner, as a matter of fact. You and your co-star.
Travis and Ryan, I got two of them.
Ooh. Hey, they're welcome to come on here if they want to.
Yeah, they're my boys. But yeah, anytime you need me, as long as I'm not traveling, I'm here. So
I appreciate it. And everybody, go check Alex out. Subscribe to him. Let's get when the Buckeye Bro Show comes back. Let's get him some subscribers and
go look at some old episodes.
Yeah, subscribe to him. Get some likes. Get the likes up. Come on, guys. Let's help a fellow Buckeye out, man.
Yep.
Yeah, let's help grow our channels. Don't forget, everybody, on Buckeye Nation, here on the OHL podcast, like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. You love more of this, leave us a thumbs up, leave us comments, and let us know what you think of this stuff. Come on, help our channel grow, help this get out there, man. Send more super chats. Help us get this show bigger and brighter than ever. Go tune in to Eric on Thursday with his call-in show. Don't forget the roundtable this Sunday. And on Monday, call in with Chris as well. So go enjoy everything on the Buckeyes. Go enjoy. Hey, don't make sure you also tune in to Buckeye Scoop too. Make sure you do that.
Albuquerque, Nevada. B. Moses and Funky. Check out our boy. Check out Mello and Dev. Let's make everybody's channel grow and be successful, guys. So.
Yep.
Until next time.
OH.
We out, ladies and gentlemen. Go Bucks.